Okay, back from the break. I'm thinking of the sea again. Like I did the other episode. It seems like I need to go to the beach. Something like that. I cut that off rather short. Now, I was a bit cryptic at the end of the last segment. What I do with triggers is different from the norm, okay? Whoever norm is. And what I do, I trigger some, not others, and all that sort of stuff. And what I do is I set up a mode, I set up a scale, depending on the kind of thing that I'm doing. I then set up a kind of a mood or a space, and then I will make a composition from it, okay? Now, at the moment, Trope is playing, which is a Brian Eno app in collaboration with his offsider Peter Chilvers, and that's a smartphone app that you can get for a couple of dollars, and that gives me a lovely little background on things. But I'm going to turn it off now, and what I'm going to do now is really just talk to you about some of the things that we should get to know as drummers. In many cases, especially if you're playing a single note instrument, let's say like a saxophone, clarinet or trumpet, and you go to college, they'll ask you to play a second instrument such as piano. And one of the things that's has always been quite important for me is my second instrument, guitar. I've done guitar on the show in the past and all that, but what I want to talk to you about is the aspect that a second instrument, a harmonic instrument, gives you. I wouldn't be able to program my interface unit to the modes if I didn't know about them and I didn't know what mood they gave me, that kind of thing. Now at the moment, I have a Lydian mode. And what a Lydian mode is essentially, in the quickest possible way to explain it, is your a typical major scale, but you start from the fourth step, okay? So if you are playing a C major scale, if you start on the fourth step, which is F, C, D, E, F, you will get a Lydian sound, which is dreamy and in the clouds kind of thing. Jazzmen use it a lot. And what happens is when you do the math, the musical math to it, a Lydian mode gives you a sharpened fourth step, okay? Now, sharpened fourth step can also be your flattened fifth, which is Diablo de Musica. So it's also has a note in it that's akin to a blue note, you see. So when I'm playing, what I was doing before, playing around with the Lydian mode using these two tones here. Okay, the fourth and fifth of the Lydian scale, actually, or mode. And there you go. I tend to keep the bass drum and the snare drum to its tonic notes to a certain degree. And there you have it there. So that's what goes on with this. Now, because I'm doing a drum show, most people would be hoping that I'm going to play some funky groove or something like that. No, not this week. I'm actually talking a little bit about music theory, which can be quite a dry thing, but I'm trying to make it less dry for you by approaching it in a completely different way. It's usually somebody plinking on a piano, saying this is what happens here and that's what happens there. But what I want to do here is a little bit of a two-way street in the sense that I'm introducing triggers. Most people know about triggers now because the law of the land dictates that if you play drums, you are the enemy in the street. So everyone's gone electronic drum kits for home practice, and they keep their acoustic drums in the car perhaps for the gig and all that sort of stuff. It's quite a big difference from, say, what was going on about 10 years ago before electronic drum kits and this kind of technology really exploded in a good way. You know, you learn to accept it. And what happens is, I don't know, it's, you know, the same, I see suburban complaints about kids playing music in the same light as venues being closed down. When the panel shop next to the good old Rockin' Pub gets sold off to developers, and next thing you've got 4-story shoddily built apartments, and everyone starts complaining about the pub just being a pub, you know, that kind of thing. I have great issues with that. I think it's a scourge and a blight on our society that there's not enough live and let live. And if I'm going to bring in the Victorian ice epidemic, maybe there would be less ice if there were more kids playing drums. So if you can hear the drums being played next door and you know the kid's going off to lessons and doing the same thing, maybe you wouldn't complain about him and saying, oh, he's just a druggie anyway. It's the music that keeps everyone sane. So you might want to think about that. Anyway, I'm not aiming that at all you drummers just move to the side. It's the person behind you over there that I'm having a crack at. Anyway, that's not what the subject of tonight is all about. It's all about modes and triggers. Anyway, what got me onto that? So, what happens? If I'm doing things like this, I've got to do more than just think, am I playing a little bit like Jack DeJohnette? Should I do this kind of style? I've got to think in terms of the harmony. Based on a Lydian. What I'm going to do now is go to the Phrygian mode. A little bit more of a grave kind of sound here. Very flamenco. Now, a couple of episodes ago I did a show on cross rhythms, and if you're going to do a cross rhythm of, say, 3 against 2, which is a polyrhythm, right? That's often used in Spanish flamenco, and it is the classical term for it is a hemiola. Okay, and my old joke, shall I tell my old joke that I've always told about it? It sounds like something you need a cream for. And what goes on with the hemiola is it's the feeling of playing 6/8 against 3/4, and really what it comes down to is that you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and so you go. Quite common. Bon Jovi use it all the time. But I'm also talking about a Phrygian mode. And a Phrygian mode, okay, it's not something you put your beer into. What happens, and I'm not talking about an ex-girlfriend, when she goes, no, I'm not going to go there. But anyway, what goes on, sorry, don't lose your train of thought, Chris, whatever you do. But what goes on is a Phrygian mode is based on the third step of a major scale. So if you take your C major scale and go from the third step, C, D, E, if you're saying C major scale, and then just go E to E, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and use your E minor harmony, funnily enough, although in flamenco you can use E major as well, but that's another issue. But what goes on is that you will come out sounding a bit Spanish, a little bit more serious. So I'll just maybe do that. See, it's very sort of Spanishy. Got a tickle in my throat today. Something there. Now I'm going to go back to my phone, show you another app. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is show you a thing called Dr. Compass. And this costs a bit of money, this particular one, but once again it's a self-generating app on Spanish flamenco rhythms. And I love this one. This is terrific. And what goes on with this is that you can, if I put it up there close enough, I've had it hung on me for doing this in the past on TV. Some trolls have emailed me and said, what do you think you're doing? But if I put in a Bulerías, okay, a Bulerías son si, and do that, and then play away. Home, there you go. There it is there. Can you hear it okay? Something there. There it is there. So what it does is it's all the clapping and everything there that it goes with it, and I just played a little something with it, and hopefully with it I gave you a sort of a flamenco kind of feel about it. So there's something else for you. A little bit more after the break, hey?